Hey everyone! Thanks for wanting to check out my adventures as I survive in this Demon Slayer world for 100 Minecraft days. This video series took such a long time to make, so if you like what you see, please think about subscribing to the channel and liking the video. It would be greatly appreciated. I also do plenty of other Minecraft anime content, so you won't be disappointed. Alright, enough of this intro, let's go ahead and jump right into this video. When I first spawned in on day 1, I immediately went to work by getting wood. After that, on my way to get some stone, I stumbled upon my first sight from the Demon Slayer mod, a Kusagai crow, but it didn't really do much. Then I proceeded to the mining process in order to get some coal and to make some other stone tools. While out in that area, I found a mineral called muzan blood embedded into the mountain, which I found to be really weird. But I continued around with my exploration and I found the house of Tanjiro still covered in blood and found some of his clothes inside, which was actually a pretty good source of armor. Nearby, I also found a village which I looted up. At night, I found a Inosuke and soon afterwards, my first demon. That thing hit like a truck, so I really needed to keep my distance if I was gonna beat it. After a lot of swings, I did manage to take it down though, and I officially became a member of the Demon Slayer Corps. I wanted to get a closer look at a more high-level fight between a Inosuke and a demon, but once I got too close, I ended up paying the price and died quickly after. I needed to go get my stuff after respawning, but with all the demons around, there wasn't much I could do but run and hide. On day 2, I got most of my stuff back and now I had a Nichiren blade to fight enemies with. With my newly acquired black blade, I was able to perform Breath of the Sun techniques like Tanjiro uses in the show. I right-clicked on my new crow friend that came when I became a Demon Slayer, but because I didn't switch to English yet, I didn't know what the coordinates it was giving me were for. Wanting food, I tested out my sword on a nearby warthog, and while it didn't impress me, I knew that there was much to learn. Scared about the sun going down and the demons arising again, I put my bed down and went to sleep to skip to the next day. The next morning, I found a Yoriichi Type 0 walking around. When I first saw it, I was really scared, but afterwards, I didn't really give it too much thought. And when I saw that my bird had given me new coordinates, I had realized that I wasn't going in the direction that it had originally told me to. Later on, I found yet another village, and this one contained both the water hashira Giyu and Zenitsu. However, even their presence wasn't enough to stop the absolute carnage that befell me. Once again, I quickly died. When I respawned, I realized I made a huge mistake though. I hadn't marked my location and I had no idea how to get my stuff back. At the spawn, I came face to face with lower rank 1, Enmu. And as his hentai tentacles chased me around, he put me into a dream trance. And even though I managed to escape, a tongue demon made it his sole mission to keep his hentai dream alive. Eventually, he backed me into a corner at Tanjiro's house and yeah. The rest of the night went as follows. I got killed by the hentai tentacles. I attacked Tanjiro for not helping me. I got killed by Tanjiro. I tried to chop down wood to restart my journey. I was attacked by a demon and killed by a skeleton. Got blown up by a creeper. A stray attacked me. Zenitsu saved me. Zenitsu killed me. And just when my mind was about to break, Enmu's hentai tentacles went after me again. But this time, I was saved by my hero. A woman who became my guiding light in this series and gave me the strength to go on. The love pillar, Mitsuri. You don't even know how happy I was to see her at that moment. Day 4 came rolling around and I started over by getting a bed, making a pickaxe, and mining. My goal was to not let something like the previous night happen ever again. So I wanted to get as much iron as possible to feel protected. I spent quite a long time down there and was eventually ready to get my iron smelted when the night came. Seeing a demon approach, I readied myself to fight. On day 5, I got my stuff back and began the smelting process. Anytime anything approached me, I now used my new iron materials and kept them at bay. I was feeling a lot better now. While outside, I spotted the sound pillar, Uzui, and felt safe with the extra protection around. But then I was launched into the air. You see, because of the advanced fight mod that I had, any large drop that I made me experience a small delay before I could run again, which allowed the demon to juggle me into the air and there was nothing I could do about it. Day 6, I got my stuff back again and relaxed in the warm sun away from the demons. At night though, I was face to face with the hand demon who proceeded to challenge me, but I had overcome so much at this point that I knew that I wasn't about to give up. I could do this. I will defeat all of the demon. I started over on day 7, and it was the greatest decision I could have ever made. From here on out is the true tale of how I became the strongest hashira and the savior of this Minecraft world from the clutches of these evil demons. On days 8 and 9, I once again prepared myself by taking on the depths of the nearby cave system in order to get its riches and to stay away from as many demons as I possibly could until I felt ready. I decided I'd set a small base to get ready for my life as a Demon Slayer Corps member on day 10, and by nighttime, I was out there fighting more confidently than I ever had before. I killed the same demon as I did on my first day and became a Demon Slayer once more. Looking out into the distance though, I saw so many threats and decided to play it safe. From there, I put on the clothes that being awarded this title gave me, especially since it was better than the iron stuff I had on. Now ready to take on the world with my new drip, Tanjiro just sensed that I was now built different, cause boy dashed over to me and posed for a group picture. I tried on my sword again and I saw that I could now one-shot creepers with it, which gave me a gauge onto how strong I truly was. After exploring for a bit, night came around and I got to actually take out my frustrations on more demons in the area. Out there, I saw Kaigaku though, and I wasn't too sure if he was a friend or foe because of, well, manga reasons. So, I kept my distance. However, I was then greeted by Upper Moon 4, who... Luckily, I had already added a Gravestone Mod at this point, so I was able to locate my dead body's location. After fighting some more demons, I then saw the demon Hyro, who had killed me previously, and I ran away. From there, I stumbled upon a structure that provided me shelter. On the next morning, I was greeted by the Flame Pillar Rengoku, as well as Zenitsu and a creeper. Wanting this to be my base, I put down my bed and checked outside to see what had occurred. I found some sort of strange Demon Slayer doll, but when I went into the third person, I saw that it wasn't a doll at all. I was holding a whole dead person. I tried to put the dead person down over the bed as a statue, but it wouldn't let me. I then climbed a mountain nearby my house as the sun went down and proceeded to fight a ton of demons throughout the night, leveling up my rank in the process, which boosted my health, power, and resistance when fighting. Eventually, I saw evidence of another upper moon in the area and decided that I would move to a place with weaker enemies instead. I saved Grandma in the desert and then saw a demon who seemed to be running away for some reason. It didn't click with me until it was too late that attacking him would summon the wrath of Upper Moon 4 yet again. I managed to get away this time, but was then spotted by Upper Moon 1 Kokoshibo, and I knew I was finna die. But luckily, Yorichi Type 0 saved my life by distracting him. When I turned around to leave, I was attacked by the hand demon, but the rising sun allowed me to see another day. Day 13 came, and I decided that I wanted to start the questing system in this Demon Slayer mod. I climbed up Mount Sagiri, got the achievement for the first mission, and then proceeded to go find Sabito. The questing system in this mod so far follows the fights of the original storyline, so after finding him, I then needed to fight him. At this point, I still wasn't aware that I could change my Breath of the Sun techniques, so I used the same ones that I had been using, and was still able to take him down pretty easily. That night, I went around killing sheep so I could make some special armor and spotted Nezuko out in the field in the process. I then used the rest of the night to train up some more, but was attacked by Upper Moon 5 and Hyro, so bye-bye. The next day, I saw the demon Susamaru, but they were destroyed by the sun before I could even do much. With the wool and some dye that I had gotten, I then went ahead and crafted Tanjiro's armor and put it on as it was much better than what I was wearing. That night, I went to Mount Nanaguma without even realizing it, and once again fought off even more demons. I spotted Rui's brother there, and when I took him down, the game celebrated by giving me a bunch of achievements. In this forest, there were some really strange demons that looked like the default ones, but had weird explosive fire powers and even more health than normal, so those were my biggest threats to look out for. After a while, I eventually felt like I had enough of the fighting in this area, and I climbed up a mountain and noticed that no demons were spawning on top of it. I descended and went back to my base, but so much noise was happening, and when I went out to go check on it, I ended up killing Susamaru before Rengoku could, which made me a hashira just like him. I stood next to my new equal, proud of what I had become. I then spotted a fight between Uzui and Kokoshibo nearby, and, well, it went about how I expected it to go. On day 15, I continued the questing system and needed to fight the hand demon. Even though this guy had given me so much trouble in the past, I made light work of him now that I was buffed up thanks to all of my training. Tanjiro then appeared out of nowhere, and I had a new partner to help me out with the next quest to beat Rui, Lower Moon 5. We went to a nearby village and saved them from an oncoming attack, but also needed to take down the Iron Golem there because he was coming at my boys and ain't nobody messing with the gang while I'm around. Continuing our demon hunt though, I ended up in another Enmu dream. After Tanjiro and I did considerable damage to him though, he turned into a train and I managed to defeat him in that form. I ended up ditching Tanjiro by the night of day 16, but I did finally learn about the different breathing techniques on the sword that I had. Going between the different forms, I practiced each of the various techniques one after the other on both my own and in the heat of battle, and realized that there was so much more to this mod than I had originally believed there to be. It was really exciting to see all of the different fighting styles that were at my disposal, and it made me question just how much more there was still to explore. I then spent the next few days and nights on Mount Naragumo because for some reason, Rui wasn't spawning as easily as I thought he would. I ended up fighting Rui's other family members quite a lot in all this time alongside other demons in the area, but it was starting to get a little worrisome that he wouldn't appear. However, he did eventually show up, and I gave him the hands. Even though he was supposed to be the strongest one-on-one battle I had had in that questing system so far, my training made it so it wasn't too bad at all. I checked what my next quest would be at the beginning of day 20, and noticed that it was to kill Enmu with Rengoku. I had already taken care of him with Tanjiro though, so I wondered if I had broken the quest tree, not realizing that it was marked as a WIP or work in progress, meaning that the Rui quest was the last one that I could complete. On the mountain where no demons spawn, Mount Yoko, I gathered strange materials that I figured would prove useful. Some I couldn't get yet though, but I knew that just meant that I would need to go mining for diamonds soon. The next day, I stumbled upon a new base of operations out in the snowy mountains, and this ended up being my home for the remainder of my time playing on this world. I ransacked the kitchen, made a smoker, and heated up some food to eat. I then tried to go to bed, but there were enemies nearby. On the roof, I found lower rank 6, Kamanue, trying to sneak into my house, and quickly took him out. On day 22, I began by working on a little crop farm for myself so I could have a self-sustainable way of getting food without needing to go out and finding some. Then I went out to a nearby forest area and came face to face with Enmu and Hyro again. Fighting two at once wasn't easy because of Enmu's obsession with putting me in that stupid dream world, but I managed to beat both of them and I carried on into the house where we fought at. It ended up being Lady Tamayo's house, and I went inside and stole her stuff and then just left. On day 23, I went around all over the place looking for a good cave opening to get both diamonds and my experience levels up so I could enchant. But I wasn't having much luck getting nice deep caves, so when night came, I went around back to fighting demons. It honestly felt so nice to be able to run around and obliterate all of these demons who were once bullying me. However, I ended up biting more than I could chew, when I ended up right in front of Upper Moon 2, Doma. I tried to run, but dude just picked me up and juggled me like a clown at the circus until I died. I lost all my hard-earned levels due to this, and I went ahead and capped off the night with more demon killing. I finally found a proper cave system on day 24, which led me to an abandoned mineshaft that went on for so long that my mining trip bled into day 25. Down there, I was able to get plenty more materials, including gold and diamonds. When I finished up down there, I went back home and made a diamond helmet and boots, but decided I wanted to enchant them before wearing them. My next objective starting on day 26 was to make an enchantment table for my armor and sword, so I started off by mining obsidian. I then went around looking for any hidden areas with books or anything because I wasn't able to craft any with what I had on me. But I couldn't find any books, bookshelves, or sugarcane anywhere. That night, I went out and searched for any of these three things, and on my way, I found Upper Moon 6 Daki. While I was able to take off her head, her brother Gyutaro manifested and chased me down. I managed to outrun him long enough to get taken into a dream dimension by Enmu, and when I came back, Gyutaro had lost sight of me. I left the area and found Uzui though. I really wanted to recreate that fight from the Red Light District arc in the manga, but I couldn't find Gyutaro anymore, so I gave up. On the 27th day, I started running out of the food supply that I brought with me on this journey, so I went around the area looking for anything to eat while also keeping my eyes peeled for sugarcane. I eventually found some though, and once I felt like I had enough, I returned home and made my enchantment table. I then crafted a nature's compass with the hopes of using it to find biomes where I could find strong demons and demon slayers alike. I selected the Mugen biome on it and went out on yet another adventure into the night. While out there, I spotted Nezuko again, and my instincts to protect came to the surface, so I destroyed any mob that was approaching her in the area. When I finally got to the supposed Mugen biome though, nothing was there, so I shifted gears and headed toward the Mugen Train biome instead. But not before killing a hand demon though, just cause I could. I got to Mount Yoko on day 28, and used my diamond pickaxe to mine that rare scarlet ore that I couldn't access before. I had found that this mountain was home to the ores that were used to make Nichirin blades, which ended up being very important knowledge for the future. I eventually got to the Mugen Train biome, and by nightfall, it was an all-out war zone. I saw so many high-ranking demon slayers and demon alike duking it out, and it was extremely overwhelming. I tried my hand at participating in some of the bigger fights, but there really didn't seem like there was much for me to do among these monsters, so I found myself keeping a distance for the most part and only taking down the weaker enemies until the sun came out and peace was once again restored to the land. Or so I thought! Certain demon abilities were still active and I almost died as a result. Since it started raining on day 29, I decided to check out the area and continue to fight demons in the process. There, I spotted the Mugen train itself and mined some coal found inside of it. The actual structure didn't have too many things inside of it, and it didn't really have too many strong enemies around it either, so I just cleared off whatever I found for a while. Eventually though, the fights did brew up again and I spotted Upper Moon 2 causing havoc. I had already learned about what would happen if I fought him, so I kept my distance though. Luckily for me, I did happen to stumble upon the scythe of Upper Moon 6 just laying there, and when I picked it up, I had a new, strong, short and long distance weapon I could use. I killed Enmu again, and it gave me the achievement, but the work in progress quest still wasn't completed, so I took out my frustration by killing Kyogai again. I went back to the lava pool near my house where I got my previous obsidian and used it to make a nether portal on day 30. I had been trying to get to level 30 for so long, and it was finally time to accomplish my goal. I mined as much as I could in that dimension. With my levels now at 35 by day 31, I went back to the overworld but completely forgot that I didn't have bookshelves to boost up my enchantments. I tended to my crop garden for a bit, and then at night, I went out and fought some more. While out there, I found that something was dealing crazy damage to me and I knew it couldn't be Enmu. That's when I spotted Upper Moon 3, Akaza. While there, I also saw my lovely love pillar, but I didn't want her getting hurt, so I didn't involve her when I began attacking Akaza. The scythe was able to damage him, but not by much, and I didn't want to get too close, so I ended up giving up. My mission for the next day was to get as much sugarcane as possible for these bookshelves, so I ran around the coastline of the different surrounding areas and collected all that I could. When night hit, I spotted another crazy fight. I decided to approach it, and I saw that it was once again Upper Moon 4 causing a ruckus. It was here that I spotted an old friend though. The Tanjiro that I was supposed to team up with to fight Rui was here. The two of us approached the great threat, but I had overestimated our abilities. Like the idiot that I am, I hit Q on my keyboard and threw my sword out just as they blasted me up into the air. When I went to retrieve it, I was met with the realization that that explosion had destroyed my sword. Still unwilling to give up without looking some more, I tried to get close, but after taking a huge amount of damage, I decided to take the L and run home with only my scythe to keep me company on this long night. Before I knew it, I was also running away from Upper Moon 2, but I ended up surviving that. The night of day 33, I decided to go out to Mount Yoko and collect a bit more materials to get my new sword. I knew that I already had enough, but I still wanted a little more just in case. When I collected all that I wanted, I made my way back home through the demons and crafted my sword, which ended up having mist breathing on it. I was really confused by this, so I kept making sword after sword and they all turned out to be the same. I was honestly a little disappointed, but I was too late in the game to complain now, so I embraced the new me. When I felt that the time was right, I then enchanted the new armor I made and the sword that I had and was set to take on the Upper Moons. I went out into the night to fight whoever I spotted first, and it happened to be Upper Moon 3, Akaza. I had recently discovered how to turn on my Demon Slayer mark around this time as well, and with it, I was given even more buffs and health regen, which helped a lot in fighting this monster. The fight ended up being extremely long though, and as the sun rose up, Muichiro, the Mist Pillar, came to assist me. In the end though, we weren't able to beat him before the sun did. Since he was the Mist Pillar and I was the new mist-breathing guy in town, I needed to show my dominance by fighting and defeating Muichiro. Sure, I was grateful that he came to rescue me, but I also wanted to impress that love pillar, so a man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. We fought Mist versus Mist, but in the end, the better man won, and I became the new Mist Pillar. Now that I wasn't afraid of fighting the Upper Moons anymore, I challenged Daki again, and quickly got her brother Gyutaro to come out and assist her. I battled both 2-on-1, but this time around, their attacks hardly even fazed me. I ended up defeating them just as the sun was coming out, so I lucked out on not wasting my time. On day 36, I decided it was time for me to shift gears towards taking down all the Upper Moons and all of the pillars. The love pillar would surely fall head over heels for me if I were to kill everyone except for her and me, right? I went out into the desert, and there I was once again in the presence of Doma, which terrified me. I ended up going for it though, and this was the fight where I realized how strong I had truly become. This Demon Slayer mark had made me OP now, and I was able to tank hits from Upper Moon 2, the third strongest demon. But also on top of that, I was able to dish out enough damage to end his life. With my confidence all the way up, I decided I'd go back to the Mugen Train biome on day 37 to see how I would fare in that war-torn land. And with my mark, it made everything so much easier. I was actually able to participate meaningfully and ended up in a 1v1 showdown against Upper Moon 1 himself. Kokushiba was definitely a couple tiers up above Doma in that I wasn't able to just go in there willy-nilly without a game plan. I found that my hunger was also sapping up super quickly, and I constantly had to eat not only to run away, but to keep my health up in the face of this threat. It was honestly really annoying and quite nerve-wracking. Eventually, I ended up overlapping my fight with a few other major fights, which made things quite frustrating as I continued to use my hit and run methods on Kokushibo. But in the end, this method wasn't fast enough to seal the deal, and he was taken out by the sun before I could land any blow even close to being a finishing one. On day 38, I became a little jealous as I found the Demon Slayer's structure of structures. It was nearby the Mugen Train biome. This ended up being Ubuyashiki's place, and while there wasn't anything in it, the atmosphere was super nice to look at. I then went back home and made golden carrots to help with the food saturation problem I had during my fight against Kokushibo, with hopes that this would make it so I could heal and run more frequently. That night, I went out and found Upper Moon 4. This guy had given me so much trouble for so long, especially with his stupid electricity abilities, so it was time to put all versions of him in his place. Tanjiro also tried assisting me in this battle, but even he couldn't do much about it. I put my all into avenging him, and did just that. Upper Moon 4 was down. After that fight, I went over and spotted the insect pillar Shinobu, who is actually my real best girl, but for the sake of this story, I changed it to the love pillar. Shinobu was really fast, but not fast enough to outrun these hands, and I took her out with the quickness. Since I was running a gauntlet, I continued my onslaught by challenging Akaza yet again, but unfortunately, even though I was clearly going to win that fight, the sun peeked its stupid head back out again, and I couldn't really do much to stop it from taking the kill again. On day 39, I found another structure from this mod. At this point, I was more than familiar with the fact that these structures acted as a spawn hub for demons and demon slayers alike, so I decided to camp out in this area until it was time for another battle to commence. At night, the challenger was none other than Akaza yet again. This time though, it was far too early into the night for the sun to intervene. Kokushiba was also in the area on the opposite side of the shrine, so I was limited to only fighting in this one area unless I wanted to be overwhelmed. I found that with the little room that I had, Akaza's hits were hitting hard, and I needed to hide for cover constantly. After getting rid of his head, Akaza grew a new one, and his health rose up extremely quickly. I readied myself for the second section of the fight, but then dude blew up and died. For some reason, I didn't really get the credit though, which made me upset. Kokushiba was also gone by this point, so I left the area and came face to face with another Akaza. But this one was so late into the night that there wasn't much for me to do. I also forgot to turn on my mark, so I couldn't be the force that I was accustomed to being at this point either. I spotted Upper Moon 5 as I ran around as well, but I decided to take the L and let the sun take them all. On day 40, I wanted to find more Demon Slayers so I could continue my conquest, but there wasn't any spawning in. By nightfall, I switched my target to the demons, but the only things that were spawning in were regular mobs and weak demons for a while. I eventually did find Upper Moon 5 though, and it was on sight. He sent his weird fish after me, and I cut him with the power of my mist. Every time I tried to combo the dude though, he would do that stupid annoying teleporting thing with his pots. Eventually, Rengoku came to help in the fight, and the dude actually just demolished Gyoko. I'm talking even in his complete form, he just stole my kill. I was honestly quite upset by this, so I killed Rengoku and kept it moving. Later that night, I also fought against the snake pillar Iguro, and you can pretty much guess exactly what happened. I'll give you a hint. I won. On the night of day 41, I was clearing out some enemies near my house when I spotted Sanemi, the wind hashira, as well as Kokushibo again. I went after the easier target first, and Sanemi and I threw down. At this point, I didn't really feel like these Demon Slayers were much of a big deal to me, so I swiftly took him out and went after Upper Moon 1. But by the time the fight was over, he was already gone. In his place was the demonized Kaigaku, who was technically also an Upper Moon, so he needed to go down as well. When I took him down, I noticed a boss bar that stated that Muzan was in the area, and when I went to go check it out, I saw that the love pillar was in a fight. I dashed to go help her, but by the time I got there, she was gone. On day 42, I once again challenged the hashira. It was finally time to take down Giyu. However, I didn't want to use my Demon Slayer mark to show that I truly was goated, even without it. But dude actually got me a lot lower than I had expected him to because of me not using it. In the end though, I did manage to win. Later on, I fought Rengoku, this time with the mark on, which honestly made it a little unfair. He did hit hard though, so I do wonder what would have happened if I didn't have something amplifying my fighting abilities to the next level. With Rengoku down, I felt accomplished. That's when Muzan decided to step up to the plate and I booked it out of there. Day 43, I fought Upper Moon 5 yet again. At this point, you can probably see that I was prioritizing going out at night more than during the day. With my only major goal being to take down these demons at this point, it was only right that I mainly prioritize heading out at night during this point in time. In this fight, I accidentally hit the Upper Moon too far into the water though, and I couldn't be bothered to go chasing after him, so I just went off to see what else I could find. This decision ended up being a good one because I came just in time to rescue Nezuko from a gang of oncoming enemies. As the sun came out, Uzui was the next one on the chopping block. I didn't turn on the mark again just to make it a little bit more fair, and while the dude did have some good moves, there wasn't much that he could do against the Mist Pillar. After the fight, I also noticed that my sword had the enchantment Red Sword 2, which I found intriguing. I assumed that it worked like in the main series where it would stop demons from healing, but I wasn't too sure. On the 45th day, I wanted to try my hand at seeing what Mount Sagari had in store for me. Just like the Mugen Train biome, this place was packed with people to fight, so I killed Kyogai. I then found Kokushibo, and it was time to finally settle this battle once and for all. There were a lot of people around, and I didn't want anyone interfering, so I pushed him down into the desert for a more open space for the two of us. After that, Kanao randomly appeared and decided to help. Not wanting another Rengoku situation though, I turned on her. After that, the main battle kept raging on, and Kokushibo continued to transform and pull new abilities out of his demonic blade. Luckily, my health was regenerating at a good rate, and in the end, I beat him and got his sword. I tried to use this new sword to fight Upper Moon 6 again, just to test it out, but they disappeared as a result of the sun before I could kill them. On day 46, I managed to learn how to transform this blade into its strongest form, which honestly looks like a tree branch, but this thing was absolutely ridiculous. It was safe to say that this was going to be my main weapon from now on. I then took this new powerhouse of a weapon and challenged Upper Moon 2 with it, but I ended up getting in a little bit of a predicament because I didn't use my mark and I ended up running away. I then challenged Akaza, but that fight didn't really go anywhere either. On the following day, I used the new sword to go around and get food, but honestly, it was mainly just because killing mobs with this new sword was a lot of fun. I then considered the fact that if this demon item was usable, other demon items must also work even if you're a demon slayer, and I ended up being right, but I still didn't do too much with any of the other demon items. At this point, with all the Upper Moons down, I went ahead and looked for the Love Pillar by heading to the Mugen Train biome, but I couldn't find her. The achievement tree had said that only the Love and Stone Hashira were left, but I never once saw the Stone Pillar, nor could I spawn him in, so I figured that he just wasn't in the mod yet. I went back over to Ubayashiki's house, and the Love Pillar wasn't there either, so I decided to go home and work on my crop farm again so I could get even more golden carrots and stuff. With my carrots ready to turn golden, I headed into the Nether. For 4 whole days, I mined, killed the pig citizens, fought some demons, and farmed for some items. When fighting blazes and wither skeletons in a fortress, I started to realize that their drops were very limited when I was killing them with my breathing techniques, so after a long while, I started using a golden carrot to smack them with, and that actually heeded to better results. I ended up getting the blaze rods and wither skulls that I needed, and I left the dimension to get back home and make them carrots shine. I quickly found myself going back into the Nether on day 54 just to get even more gold and to play around with my demon sword. While I did do some mining to get some golden nuggets, this time around, I purposely attacked as many pigmen as possible just so they would drop little golden nuggets for me to pick up. I then went out and cut some trees to get some apples and finished off my day by killing Hyro in the Nether. With all the gold and the 3 apples that I got on the previous day, I went ahead and crafted a few golden apples for the upcoming fights ahead of me. I then went out and searched for an opening, and when I found a good one, I mined some coal to make some torches and set them up around the area. After setting up some soul sand and the wither skulls that I got in the Nether, it was time to throw down. I figured that I might as well take down as many strong enemies as I could for the Love Pillar's sake, so I did just that. I really messed up at first by accidentally switching the demon sword back to its base form, but I quickly brought things back and the wither boss went down in a few hits. At night, I continued my search for the Love Pillar, but I still couldn't find her. On day 56, I made Eyes of Ender and worked my way toward the Ender Dragon. It was during this journey that I finally got what I really wanted though. I was face to face with the Love Pillar. And when I told her about what I did for our love, she wouldn't even acknowledge my accomplishments. I wanted to prove just how far I had come since I was saved by her, but in the end, she went all out and I ended up defeating her too. From there, I went down to the end portal and jumped inside. In the end, I found out that unlike the Wither, who died in a few hits from my demon sword, the dragon was taking no damage. Maybe it was because I was out of it because of the fight against the love pillar, I don't really know. But because of this, I relied on my other tools and the fact that I had a huge strength upgrade thanks to being a high-ranking slayer to take it down. On day 57, I thought it was about time I fought Muzan, so at night, I went around going after anyone I felt like fighting. For some reason, I still kept forgetting to turn on the mark at the start of the fights though, so that made things much more difficult than they needed to be, even against enemies like Upper Moon 4 who I had beaten previously. After Upper Moon 4 came my true fight against Akaza. For far too long, this demon and I had a long-standing rivalry that made it so Minecraft wouldn't give me the achievement for beating him, and the time had finally come to see which one of us would come out on top. At this point though, I was a completely different beast than the last time we met, so, as you can see, the dude didn't really stand much of a chance anymore. In the end, Akaza did his stupid regeneration thing and died, but this time, I got the credit for the kill. The following day, my hunt for Muzan continued once again. I tried to get back to a high density area and Upper Moon 4 gave me such a scare among all of the chaos that I ended up eating one of my golden apples. After leaving that area, I finally came across Muzan, and I figured I was ready to finally start the final battle. I tried to keep my distance against him, which worked well enough to bring him to his second form. Scared of his strength, I decided I'd use the old hit and run tactic for this one, but I ended up leading him to another fight against Upper Moon 4. This sent everything out of whack and I lost track of the main fight and Muzan. The sun ended up coming up as a result of the wasted time, so I couldn't do what needed to be done. On the night of day 59, I decided I'd fight Muzan on top of Mount Yoko since no other demons would be up there. It was here that we truly had our final epic battle to the death. The dude was so strong, especially once I pushed him to his battle form. There were multiple times where I felt like his hentai tentacles were going to suck me up and not let me go, but I did manage to escape over and over. The only issue was, it seemed like the more damage that I did, the stronger he was becoming. It was once I was backed off the mountain and on the cliffside that I realized that this was my ticket to a smooth victory. My long-range sword was going to come in clutch as I was able to just wail on Muzan and the stupid demon couldn't do anything about it. Only thing I had to worry about was the sun stealing my glory. When I felt like he was low enough, I took a leap of faith at him and slayed the main antagonist. But strangely, I didn't get the achievement for doing so. I then went on shore, killed a random demon, and boom! He ended up being the true Muzan? I think that the mod just glitched out or something at that part. On day 60, the only major thing I had left to do was to fight the demon Tanjiro that Muzan's defeat had brought upon. The way he fought greatly reminded me of Pikachu. Once again, I didn't turn on my mark for this fight for some reason, which made it so I was taking much more damage than I really needed to, resulting in the same strat as the one that I used against Muzan. The cliffside strat came in clutch as I continued to rain moon-breathing blasts down on the demonized boy. Eventually, he went into his final form, which actually made him start bugging out and sending me flying. But the grace of the cliffside kept me safe long enough for me to finish the fight once and for all. With that, peace was once again restored to the land, and the only menace around these parts was some mysterious swordsman who was responsible for killing all of the demon slayers. No idea who that was though. Now the first thing that you might be noticing is that we only got to 60 days. Unfortunately, while the mod had a ton to do, I couldn't find a way to squeeze another 40 days out of it. I hope you can all understand. If you want to see me do this again though, just let me know. Oh, and comment down below what your favorite part was and any suggestions that you might have for the future. I plan on doing a lot more 100 days in Minecraft content, so if you want to be notified when those go up, I recommend subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell. I want to try this style of video for other anime series like My Hero, Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan, One Piece, and so on. With that though, I just want to say thank you to each and every single one of you for all of the support on these videos, and thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.